Sanders, 3 to the Giants. This I find particularly interesting, and let's bring Field into this conversation here. Field, talk to me about Shedeur going 3 to the Giants. They've made the moves that we've seen, Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson. They have Tommy DeVito there. What's the thinking behind putting Shedeur at 3 to the Giants?
Yeah, we were just talking about this, Greeny, how the Pittsburgh Steelers last year added a couple of quarterbacks, and here they are, and it's already April, and they have no plan for 2025. So Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston both signed contracts that are certainly not reflective of guys that are sure bets to be your quarterback for maybe even a full season this year. And as a team, you don't plan on picking number 3 overall year in and year out. You can be just bad enough to be far enough removed from number 1 in the draft that you might miss out on a top quarterback prospect. The Giants learned that last year when they were at number 6 overall and tried to make a trade with the Patriots to get to number 3 overall, and the Patriots said, no, this Drake May guy is too good to bypass. So if the Giants are convicted on Shedeur Sanders, nothing they have done up to this point this offseason should hold them back from taking a player who could give them a chance to have a quarterback that could be theirs for the next decade. And I know that there are a lot of opinions on Shedeur Sanders. Mine is well stated. He's 16th overall on the big board. Let me just say this. We're in this era now where we're starting to see the haves and the have-nots with quarterback development. We have seen a lot of teams that have drafted quarterbacks high, done virtually nothing with them, and all of a sudden the second act of their career has become brilliant. Sam Darnold last season, who's now going to make a lot of money from the Seahawks. Baker Mayfield, we've seen Geno Smith in a much later phase of his career become a quality starter. I'd like to see some of these teams show that they have the goods to make these players, who may be imperfect, quality starters at the NFL level.
Do you believe the Giants will take Shedeur Sanders at 3?
I believe it's too soon to even say that. I know there's just 20 couple days left here, but Field Yates is right there. They haven't had their pro day yet. Mm-hmm. The Giants have not had a private workout with Shedeur Sanders.
It's this week, right? To be clear, it's this week?
Friday.
Yep.
They're going to have it, and it's one of the later pro days I could ever imagine, having it all the way on April 4th. But for anyone speculating that, like, it's right now the decision, it's still time to go. So do I believe they can take him? If they meet with him, if they have the private workout, they've seen him play, of course, and they've spoken to him at Colorado. But, like, if they fall in love with him, yeah, you can take him. Yeah. Sure, you could take him.
What were they saying at the owners' meetings? You were just
feels like Joe Shane, Brian Daboll, when they talk about this, are trying to sort of prepare the fan base for the possibility that they don't go quarterback at number 3. Because, I mean, to Peter's point, that it may be undecided, but it's also not a slam dunk, right? They're not so sold on whoever the option, whether it's Shedeur Sanders, whoever the option is going to be there at 3, that it's like they don't have to worry about it. We're definitely going to do it. So Travis Hunter or Jalen Carter, who are viewed as
Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter, yeah.
Did I say Jalen? Yeah. If Jalen Carter,
that would be nice.
They should take him. Abdul Carter viewed as franchise-changing players, and if you don't think that the quarterbacks available to you at 3 are, then maybe it makes more sense to wait and do it later. Get a Travis Hunter and be thrilled about that for the next decade.
So, Grinny, for me, it's simple. And Phil used the word conviction. I'm going to use the word that Peter loved. If the Giants organization fall in love with Shedeur Sanders, you draft him at number 3. Otherwise, you draft Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, whichever one is available at that pick.
Field, final word.
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of people that are saying, hey, it's April 2nd. Obviously, the Giants don't love Shedeur Sanders because we know about it by now, right? Well, Peter mentioned the pro day, which is on Friday. I'll be there in Boulder, Colorado, which that could be a point in which the Giants fall in love. Also, while there are years in which you know who you love from the minute the guy declares for the draft, I'm just telling you, there are teams who have fallen in love with the player and then unfallen in love with that player and then fallen back in love with that player during the month of the draft. Stuff happens. I am always reminded of the 2021 NFL draft when the 49ers traded up to number 3 overall. We all thought Mac Jones is going to San Francisco. Well, he made it to San Francisco just 4 years later after stops in New England and also this past season in Jacksonville. Things can change even with just a few sort of relative hours left on the clock until April 24th.
Exactly. And while there are no hard, fast rules in anything, I would say if you change your mind 4 times about a player during a period of time in which he hasn't played a single game, let me show you where these quarterbacks sit. What you're looking at on your screen now are the quarterbacks who went in round 1 last year and the top members of this year's class. The ones that are shaded in were last year's picks. So you see where these guys would fall. Cam Ward, a bunch of them ahead of Bo Nix. Cam Ward with basically the same grade as J.J. McCarthy and almost the same as Drake May. Caleb Williams, of course, was on a level all his own. We know that Bo Nix and Michael Penix both went in the first half of round 1 last year. So let me bring young Field Yates, into the conversation on that thought. It begs the question, Teams that need quarterbacks sometimes make these moves for guys that people like you have in the 30s and the 40s on their big boards. Are teams about to make a big mistake overdrafting quarterbacks in the next couple of weeks?
Well, Greeny, we have seen the quarterback tax come back and bite teams in the rear in the past. I think what makes this top of this draft particularly unique is that, the New York Giants need a long-term vision. I go back to January 7th when team owner John Mara talked about the decision to keep Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, the head coach and the general manager for this team. And he said the number one priority this offseason for the organization is to find the quarterback that we can win with going forward. Now, he did not say it was only going to be through the draft. Maybe the team feels as though Russell Wilson gives them enough for this year that they can make a credible effort to jump up in the standings. I'm just not sold that he is enough in a division that features, in many people's eyes, two of the top three quarterbacks in the NFC, Jayden Daniels and Jalen Hurts, who, by the way, the Super Bowl winning team in the NFC Championship game, other team in the Washington Commanders. So I do think the Giants, even if there is a bit of an incongruence with where I have Shedeur Sanders on the big board and where they are picking at number 3, they have to at least think long and hard about a player who gives you a chance. I don't know how strong of a chance it is, but he gives you a chance to have your quarterback that you can build around for perhaps a decade, a la what happened with the 3 teams at the top last year.
If you're just joining us for this new hour, our newest man is Peter Schrager, and he's with us here today for the first of what will be a great many times to come. The last year, all these guys got pushed up, right? I mean, we just saw those draft ratings. No one thought that Bo Nix or that Michael Penix were going to go nearly as high as they did. Will that happen again? Should we be expecting these names to come off the board a lot sooner than they're being mocked?
Sean Payton fell in love with Bo Nix and was hell-bent on getting him. The Vikings knew they needed to take a quarterback, so they were like, we're going to take a quarterback. The Falcons we weren't all aware of, but we thought the Raiders might be going with Penix. I don't have teams telling me, like, we love Shedeur Sanders, or we love Jackson Dart, or we love Tyler Shuck. I think last year there were perfect matches in all of those, and even if Atlanta seemed odd at the time, they obviously had great affection for Michael Penix, and he already is their quarterback. We're only on April 2nd. Greeny, I don't have a team saying, like, hey, Jackson Dart's my guy. He's blown us away. We saw him at the Senior Bowl. Saw him at the Combine. He actually worked out. He's interviewed with teams. He had a pro day. No one's doing flips over Jackson Dart right now, so I can't say he's going to go 3 to the Giants or 6 to the Raiders. I just don't have that intel, and I don't think it's the same class as last year.
I would say this: you live for today and worry about tomorrow when tomorrow comes. And we do know in the National Football League, if you have no quarterback, you have no chance. That's what the league has told us. So a lot of these teams that need a quarterback, if you feel like a guy is there that can change your franchise, and also it's very important that they have the supporting cast, right? That plays a major part in a lot of these guys' success.
If you're the Giants, do you take the quarterback, or do you take whichever one of the guys is still available, Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter?
If I love Shedeur, I'm taking him. If not, I'm taking one of the Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Yeah. Right. It's that simple.
And then you're probably looking at quarterback at the top of the second round.
34th pick.
Exactly.
You may not like Tyler Shuck as much as you like Shedeur Sanders, but when you factor in the price, Tyler Shuck with the 34th pick, you like better than Shedeur Sanders with the 3. Right, you come out of the first round with Travis Hunter, and a quarterback.
Hunter and Shuck as opposed to just Shedeur.
I will make a prediction.
The Bengals, right? A.J. Green, Andy Dalton model.
Yeah. And let the record show that my predictions are almost always wrong. But it is my prediction that when the second round starts, when we all go to sleep on that first Thursday night, Tyler Shuck will no longer be available. Ooh. Someone's going to trade into the back half of the first round. Yates' mock draft is up and available right now on ESPN.com, and Field and I will be taping an edition of First Draft a little bit later today, talking all about it. Yates, outstanding. Thank you. Take a break here. Coming up, Steph was...
Xin chào các bạn đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm sao. Và hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là nước mắm. Mọi người hôm nay vào của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là bông hoa.